Now, this is like part 5 all over again because on the Blizzard forums, I have been alerted to something new that I didn't have before. If I'd known about this before, it totally would have been in part 5. Well, maybe not, considering that it was almost at YouTube's limit for how long videos can be. When I said Blizzard was asking us questions, it might not actually have been us that they were talking to. One of the CMs, Caydiem, kept talking about and to a particular poster named Ellia. Now, there's a lot of suspicion that Ellia was in fact an employee of Blizzard. Ellia kept trying to shoot down everything that anyone was saying that tried to make a real change in Paladin's favor, and if she couldn't come up with something logical against it, she would just move on to somebody else's argument. It was as if Ellia was trying to keep us in the buff-bot-heal-bot role, because she was very much advocating the status quo. Ellia was trying to tear down anything that would make real changes for Paladins. As such, she was reported for trolling, but those reports fell on deaf ears. Caydiem, the CM I was talking about before, went out of her way to tell someone that she thought what Ellia was saying was constructive criticism. This is a clear case of someone calling black white and white black. All, I might add, in the interests of screwing Paladins over. I mean, Caydiem knew that people like Ellia were making a lot of people miserable, and there was a good, logical argument, in fact more than one, that Ellia should be banned. Caydiem refused to listen to these arguments, and even went out of her way to say, "No, I'm not going to listen to these arguments, I'm not going to argue with this." This refusal to listen has sparked a conspiracy theory that Ellia was somehow an employee of Blizzard who wanted to keep Paladins in the heal-bot role. And whoever Ellia was also had Caydiem under control so that Ellia wouldn't get banned. Unfortunately, there's no proof for this, so I really can't give it a skull. In any case, the end result of patch 1.9 was that our talents actually got worse for tanking. But then again, even if things had gotten better in terms of our talents, we still might not have been able to tank. And why is that, you say? Well, in tanking, gear is nearly everything. And Paladins, when they're tanking, need a lot of spell damage for their gear. Now, when you take a look at gear on the auction house, sometimes you see of the monkey, of the wolf, things like that, and sometimes also of Arcane Wrath, of Nature's Wrath, and things like that. Those increase nature damage and arcane damage. Paladins need stuff of Holy Wrath. But is there anything of Holy Wrath? No, there isn't. If there ever was, Blizzard just plain and simple took it out. Why? There's some indication that there was once stuff of Holy Wrath. For example, the green lens of Holy Wrath. They actually took that out in patch 1.3. Why? The only conclusion I can come up with is that somebody wanted to keep Paladins in the heal-bot role, and because of that, wanted to prevent them from doing any holy damage. I should probably say here that I understand that spell damage isn't the only stat that Paladins need for tanking. I've never been a Paladin tank myself, but I understand that stamina, intellect, and other things are required, and not just spell damage, but spell damage was the thing that was hard to get back before the Burning Crusade came out. That's why I'm commenting on it so much. Anyhow, once in a while you might see some item, like a dagger that is of Holy Wrath. They didn't bother to take those things out, probably to taunt us, since Paladins can't use daggers. Ever so slowly, once in a while, they would add a piece of armor that actually did have some spell damage on it. But these were few and far between, and most of them were high-end content, like Soulforge and Judgment armor. Sets like those really took a lot of effort to get. More effort, I dare say, than most other classes had to go through to improve themselves with gear. I mean, most other classes, in order to improve themselves with gear, don't have to go all the way to get their tier sets. It probably wouldn't have taken a lot of work on Blizzard's part to just throw in a few items that had Holy Wrath attached to them, but they never did. In fact, they still don't now. But things have gotten quite a bit better in terms of gear since then.